The last topic of section 10.2 is writing an equation of a hyperbola given the foci and the vertices. So this is actually backward of what we've been doing because we were given equations and we were asked to find foci and vertices, right? So this time they're giving us these 4 points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to graph it first. I'm going to try to plot it because if they are on the same vertical line, then I know the hyperbola will be opening up and down, the vertical hyperbola. But if they're all on the same horizontal line, then I know the hyperbola will be sideways, opening to the right and opening to the left. So what do these points look like? The first foci is, the first focus is what? 1, -5. 1, -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next one is 1, 1. Oh, this is going to be the vertical case where the y fraction is positive. You see how these two dots, when I plotted them, they're on the same vertical line, right? Now, what about the vertices? 1, -4. Here's the first vertex. And the second one is 1, 0. So here's the second vertex. So the hyperbola will look something like this. Okay, so notice how all these 4 dots that I just plotted are on the same vertical line, right? So that's how we know that this will be the vertical hyperbola. Now for vertical hyperbola that are opening up and down, the equation format, you're going to start with the y fraction first. Okay, the y fraction will be positive. So look at these two for me. I got 2. So this is the case that we have going on so far. So the equation should look just like this. Now let me just copy all of these formulas that we need, okay? That will help us. So our job is to write an equation that looks like this, okay? And in order to write an equation that looks like that, we just need 4 numbers. We need, what are some numbers that we need? We need h and k. And remember what those are. Those are center points. Okay, so we need to find the center. That will be the h and k. And we also need to find these two denominators. We need to find a squared and b squared. Okay, once we can find all of them, we should be able to write this equation. So let's start with center first. Okay, so where's got to be the center of this hyperbola? Center is the midpoint of these red vertices and also the midpoint of these black foci. Okay, so what's in the middle of these 2 red dots? Okay, I think it should be about like right here, you guys. I think it should be right there. Let me count though. I'm gonna double check. If I go up 2 from that purple dot, 1, 2, I get to the first vertex. If I go down 2, then I get to that second vertex. So yes, it looks like that purple dot is where the center should be. Now if I check the distance from my center to the foci, we'll notice the same distance again. Watch. If I go 1, 2, 3 up, I get to the focus on top. If I go down 3, 1, 2, 3 down, I get to the focus that's below. So yes, and you know, it was actually easy for me to kind of just read the center off of this graph. So I'll write down that the center is 1, -2. Now, if you don't want to graph it, but still want to find the center, what you can do is find the midpoint of vertices. So remember they gave us the vertices are 1, 0 and 1, -4, right? So how do you find the midpoint of these 2 points? Well, you have to add the x by x and divide by 2. So when you do 1 plus 1 divided by 2, you will get 1 plus 1 divided by 2. And for the y-coordinate, you'll be adding the y-coordinate, 0 plus -4. So if you do that and divide by 2, you will get 2 over 2, and this one is -4 over 2, and you simplify it, that will give you 1, -2. So you can do it two different ways. I just did mine by graphing it, figuring out what's gotta be in the middle, or you can find the midpoint by adding the x and x coordinates, dividing by 2, and adding the y coordinates and dividing by 2. Okay, so we got the center, which means h is 1 and k is -2. Okay, so I can write part of the answer right now. So here's the equation gonna be. We're gonna get y plus 2 squared over a squared minus x minus 1 squared over b squared. And that equals 1. So by placing the h and k into the equation, we're about halfway done with this equation, right? Now, we need to go find what a and b squares are, okay? So in order for us to do that, we're going to use the distance between the center to the vertices first, okay? So from that center of 1, -2, notice that we went up how many? 1, 2 up. So the distance that we traveled up from the center to the vertex is 2. And we can also go down 2 to get to the vertex. So look, I want to show you this formula right here. I'm saying that A is 2. Okay? The vertices are A away from the center. Okay? And in this one, we added 2 to go up. So that's going to be this K plus A. And notice that we went down 2 to get to the second vertex, right? So that's, that's that K minus A part. So this shows us that A must be equal to what number? 2, okay? So A is 2. So I can, instead of writing A squared there, we just read that A is equal to 2. So this first fraction can turn into y plus 2 squared over 2 squared, which is 4, okay? All right. Now really the final thing to find is our b squared. Now to find b squared, you can't just read off of this graph anymore. We now have to use this formula, c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So this time we're going to see how far away the center is from the foci, okay? Now watch, I'm going to get rid of these pink highlights. From the purple center point, how many did we go up to the foci? We went 1, 2, 3 up. And same thing, we went down 1, 2, 3 down. So what we get is that C is equal to C is equal to 3. Okay? C is the distance. Okay, watch this. C is the distance that we go up or down from that center point. So when you go up 3, down 3, C's gotta be 3. So that's why I say 3 squared over there equals what? A squared. Well, don't we know what A is? A is 2. And then we just don't know what B is. So we got it there. I'm going to go ahead and solve for B squared now. So 3 squared is 9. 2 squared is 4. So that gets us B squared to be equal to positive 5. Which means instead of writing b squared in the denominator right here, let me just go ahead and put 5. So that's it. We found the equation by solving for 4 numbers, h, k, a, and b. It's a little hard one really, but I think for me, when I graphed it, it made it a lot easier. And having this formula side to side, reading A as the distance that a center goes from the center to the vertices, and reading C as the distance from the center to the foci, and having these formulas to plug in, that really helped me solve this problem here.